Good morning. At least I hope it's a good morning. It's Sunday today. What are we up to? 442,000 bucks, 483 science. There were a couple of things that I was waiting to unlock. I wonder if we should grab them. We also, I've added 3 mods that I can think of. I added civilian population, because it has the Netherdyne University. Where is that bad boy? It's like a 20-person science lab. It's fucking huge. We used to use it as one of the main features of our megacity, because it would generally build a just a monstrosity, like a 250 Kerbal megacity, and we'd redesign it. I always like to have like one hotel that's just outrageously nice, the Ritz, and eventually it just became the megacity. I don't know where I unlock it though. I see the biosphere, so I'm fairly certain that it is installed properly. It's probably down here, though, isn't it? Oh man, if we can unlock it now, that would be such a huge challenge to get it up into space. But it is still worth. That would definitely be the centerpiece of our first observatory and space science lab. And then we wouldn't really need to bring any of the other ones up. Would we? I don't think so. But it's not gonna happen if I can't find it. Not seeing it anywhere in here. It's pretty easy to spot. It's fucking huge. I wouldn't think that we would have already unlocked it. I'm fairly certain that it's toward the back end of the tech tree. But I don't know where anything is anymore. There she is. The Netherdyne University. Oh, it holds 8. It holds 8 scientists. So if you think of the speed of research when it comes to 2 scientists, imagine 8 in one part working together. It's really good stuff. For some reason I thought it was more, though. I thought it was more than 8. We need to update the R&D before we can even research metamaterials, which is going to be 550 science, followed by 1,000 science for orbital assembly, followed by 1,500 science for orbital megastructures to even unlock it. So it'll be a hot minute. I didn't think it was something that we would have already unlocked, but worth checking out. And by and large, the vast majority of the other parts in that mod we won't be using. There's, it's kind of a work in progress thing. It does have a couple of pieces that I like to use, but for the most part, the rest of them are kind of half implemented. And some of them have some bugs, too, that are kind of a problem. Like, trying to remember what parts it was. I think it's the apartments. There's 1 or 2 of the apartments that it adds, where if you go, if you move a Kerbal into it, they disappear. They still exist. They'll still starve to death if you don't feed them and whatnot, but you can't move them back out of the part. They're nowhere to be found. So, so yeah, there's gonna be some stuff that we'll definitely be avoiding. As far as our 483 science, Very tempted to grab heavy aerodynamics. Slightly tempted to grab supersonic flight too, and we could afford both. But then that's it for science until we get our next big payoff. So I don't want to be too hasty, just in case I'm overlooking something. The additional command pods would definitely be nice too, since we're going to start doing manned missions. Not only to stations, but to the moons pretty soon. I think, once again, I'm just going to not spend it. Oh, look at all these glorious wheels. "50 meter-a-second impact tolerance. Trying to find the wheels that we're using right now. I wonder if I were to take I don't know if I have one. If I were to take a steerable set of landing gear, they usually have a higher impact tolerance than any of the other parts, because they're designed for, you know, a plane to smack down on the ground with them. Gently is definitely better. Well, but that is kind of what they're made for, whereas rover wheels, not so much. I don't even see the freaking wheels that I'm using. A lot of these parts are getting kind of funky. I need to scroll up and down to get them to appear in my list, and I believe that that's just because I've added additional parts. So I'm pretty sure we can fix that by clearing our cache, but I could be wrong. Might be a permanent thing. I don't even see our freaking our wheels that we're using anywhere. Do they have to be in here? Good morning, Jaso. Got a job? Nice. GG, Jaso. Congratulations, sir. Hopefully something that you'll enjoy, too. 50 Gs, 4,000 kPa pressure for the tolerance, 20 meter-a-second impact. So yeah, that would definitely be why, if I was going over 20 meters a second when I went down a ramp, they would just combust. And I'm wondering if swapping out those front wheels with, well, they would have to be steerable, and that's the other problem, is there's very few options. I know of one that we have right now. And I'm not seeing... Oh, there we go. These have a steering range, the medium landing gear. And we wouldn't withdraw them, or retract them. We would just leave them out as front wheels. It's gonna look kind of funny with a different set of front wheels than back wheels. I don't think I'm gonna spend any of our science, though. Yeah. So we did get our photograph of the sun, and I think I already accepted the low orbit contract. And we have one more that we could bundle into that if we really wanted to. But right now, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, we have to bring 9 people up into a low orbit. 10 people. This guy needs to go somewhere too. Oh wait, Bowman. Or Baymond, I don't know. I think he disappeared. I don't know what the fuck happened to him. I believe that we got that mission and we never actually had him show up, so that's another contract that I can just force finish because we did leave a seat open for him. He was supposed to be on board the tourist vessel that we put up into space yesterday. See if he showed up. Doesn't look like it. Yeah, I'm totally gonna force that contract to finish. Because otherwise it's just gonna sit there being a lump. Small tech support company? Oh, I love tech support jobs. Most of the time. Most of the time. Contracts active. Ferry a VIP to his destinations and back. We're gonna force that complete. Because we did actually complete it, but the little fucker didn't show up. That sucks though. There was, if I had remembered to go and do that when we finished that mission, there was another contract that we could have been bundled in with a previous thing that we did. So these guys want to go over two different specific sites. These guys want to go out to a flyby of the moon, and we won't be doing that. These guys just want to go into orbit though. And I think we're going to take that. So this is going to be one of our largest tourist missions so far. Oh no, so you're getting bounced around instead of trained? What kind of accounts do you guys have? Are you allowed to say? I've done tech support for Prodigy Internet back when dial-up was a thing. America Online also when dial-up was a thing. And then I moved to Toshiba. And then I went over to back to Prodigy, but for DSL. When DSL was brand new, there were like 4 of us. That was our whole department. It was like a manager and 3 techs. Can't think of any of the other ones. I've worked a hell of a lot of tech support jobs, though. I've always enjoyed them. I guess let's go back to our 8-man tourist, or 12-man tourist vessel. It's 13 total. It's 12 plus a pilot. We're trying to get this son of a bitch into space, and we just didn't have the technology at the time. So it ended up falling a little bit short. But it is as far as I'm aware, it should be a fully usable 12-man vehicle. We just needed to add a little bit of lift to it. So we're going to go through the entire testing cycle. We want to make sure that that this thing can re-enter safely before we throw tourists on it, or anything like that. I have the hiccups, and I feel like I'm gonna die. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Do I have enough seats for all of our freaking tourists? I may have accepted too many contracts there. One dude, Mr. Gorm, is not gonna be able to fit. I mean, the easy solution is to turn this into a 14-man. Hello? Click. Why you no clicky? Oh, because I was on move 14. We're not counting the pilot. So this is a 15-man vessel. We're when we're doing our naming, we're only counting the passenger capacity. Good for local businesses. That's still really cool. glad that you found something, and I hope it's something that you end up really enjoying. Oh, just dead end where I tell you to, please. Actually, go back to that one. Let's dead end from there. Hello? I'd like to complete my fairing now. Pretty please? What the hell? Why are you being a finicky little bitch, Fairing? What's your problem? Yeah, just don't miss any time. Shouldn't have any problem with the 90-day probation period. That's what working for the government is too. You always have a 90-day probation period where they can pretty well let you go for whatever the hell they want. So it's a pain in the ass. Alright, so let's take it out as is and see how she does. We know that it's not going to actually work, but I'm curious how close it is to being able to work. I'm not going to do anything with the staging at all. If nothing else, we should be able to get a partial test in. And I am a little bit nervous about the tourists here, so I'm going to kick everybody out of this motherfucker. Because I don't know if that other tourist maybe had stowed away on one of our test flights, and then since I reverted it, maybe he disappeared. Like, he should come back to here. But he didn't, and I have no idea why. So we'll leave Jeb up in the Mark 1 cockpit, leave all of our crew cabins empty, hopefully, and we'll take it out for a quick test flight. And I don't really recall how we have this set up. This might be... I don't remember anything about this one. We were a couple of days into the playthrough, and I wanted to go big. I wanted our first, like, finalized tourist vehicle to be able to take any number of tourists. But it just, I mean, we had a 150 part limit. There just wasn't any way for me to do it. So let's take a look here. We have a liquid fuel and oxidizer main lifter. Our upper stage is liquid hydrogen, and it looks like it's being actively cooled right now. I also, for some reason, have liquid fuel and oxidizer up there, which is definitely bad. Let's go ahead and just revert right now, because fuck that. I'd imagine that I grabbed that tank because of the look of the tank, without noticing that that I can't hold liquid hydrogen. But I think that these can. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I just needed to switch it over to it. That'll definitely hurt our stats. We're making the upper stage much more heavy than it needs to be. But if we don't do that, we also want to enable cooling, and the liquid hydrogen upper stage on this vessel is why we've actually added solar panels and additional batteries, because it does require constant electric charge to cool the cryogenic fuel that we're going to use. So I'm pretty sure I got them all there. Update our save, kick out stowaways. Oh, thank goodness. I hate that when they keep coming in here. We have Better Crew Assignment, I think is the name of the mod, that should prevent that, but they still manage their way in sometimes. So what kind of hours are they giving you? Are they making you start out like part-time, or are you getting a full 40? And I'm assuming if you're doing tech support for businesses, you're probably working like bank hours, right? Good old 9 to 5 kind of thing. Alright. Let's get our maneuver information up. We do have a chip in here, so I'm going to use the thrust to weight ratio up here, but I do like the burn time that we get on our detailed stage information. I could add that up here too, but I kind of like where it is and how it's displayed. So, 3, 2, 1, go! Full time? Nice. We have a lot of solid rocket boosters, so I'm throttling back once we've got a little bit closer to the cruising speed that we want to be. I'm going to keep us at 1.6 to 1.5 until we stage those boosters. And looking up our information here, maybe I do want thrust to weight ratio. It looks like we need to actually burn some fuel out of this to improve later thrust to weight ratio, so maybe I'll just leave it at a 3rd throttle, even though our TWR is going to be a little bit high. Nah, I'm going to throttle all the way down. We're down to maybe 10% throttle now. Jeez, okay. Well, usually I set these up so that we stage our first set of heavy lifters before we go into our gravity turn, but we're already at 12 kilometers, so let's start turning over. AP is coming up past 23K already, and I had no angle. So we'll start our rollover. There's our separation. Pretty clean, but that is kind of a bummer that we destroyed that. It would have been nice to save it. Let's go ahead and throttle all the way back up. And we'll go down to about a 45-degree angle here. It's not doing too bad. It's always a bummer when those SRBs collide with one another after we've fitted them with parachutes and made them recoverable. AP's at 51. Let's go ahead and start to nose down more prograde. TWR on the next stage is at 1.23, which is actually pretty good, so I'm glad that we burned out a little bit of that fuel. So I don't want to actually lose speed when I stage. AP is at 65K. Let's go down to 20 degrees before separation. Get rid of that last set of solid rocket boosters, leaving us at a thrust to weight ratio of 1.6. Which is 0.1 higher than the TWR displayed over here, and I'm not sure why. It doesn't make any sense. Let's get rid of our fairing. We're at about 60 kilometers. Avoapsis is coming up on 78 kilometers. Our target for this is going to be 90. Just 5 kilometers over the atmosphere. Okay, AP just passed 85, so we'll go down to horizontal and burn out the rest of our fuel in our main lifter. Let's see where that leaves us with the upper stage, which is only going to have a thrust to weight ratio, an initial thrust to weight ratio of 0.74. We have a little under a minute before we reach AP, and we still have 26 seconds of burn with this engine, or with this stage. So I may not have left this enough time to burn through all of our fuel and establish that orbit. AP's coming up on 90. I'm going to angle down a little bit negative here so that we can kind of regulate how high AP goes, but that is going to move us closer to AP as well. Go ahead and stage all that stuff. We had an interstage fairing there. Activate our cryogenic upper stage engine. With 190 seconds of burn time, but only 30 seconds before we reach AP. Now, we added a part to this, and the previous iteration of this did fail to achieve an orbit, which is why we're doing a lot of our testing right now. But we were also carrying excess liquid fuel, and I noticed that some of these tanks didn't have cooling enabled, so there was some boil off that was occurring there too. I'm going to go ahead and angle up a little bit. We're at about 90K, which is our target altitude, and we just want to maintain that altitude, staying at AP while we burn through this fuel. We're 5 seconds from AP. It looks like a 25-degree angle is going to be just about the sweet spot. And then we'll nose down as we burn through fuel and achieve a greater thrust to weight ratio so that we stay right at AP. I pushed it out to about 10 seconds. So I'm going to go a little bit low so that we get to AP. I want to stay pretty much right on it since this is going to be our final stage. We also need to check our messages, even if this doesn't work, which I don't expect it to, because we would have been using the damn thing if it worked, right? But it's gonna be really close. Like, actually, I think it's gonna work. Surprisingly, huh? Even though we added a part. But what I was going to say, even if we don't achieve an orbit, we do want to check our messages and make sure that all those previous stages outside of the two SRBs that collided with one another were fully recoverable. So look at that. It totally gets into orbit with plenty of DV left over for us to do orbital maneuvers and deorbit the vessel. I'll be damned. So I don't know why the hell we haven't been using this whole time and why we didn't complete the build. Totally confused. No idea. Doesn't make any sense. I am thinking that we could probably hide some, since this is so long, we could probably add some landing gear to this, just 2 on the sides here and 2 on the back here. We may have to add a service bay in here as a buffer between the heat shield and this adapter. I'm not sure. Let's go ahead and yeah, just time warp a little bit and do our re-entry test. If we can get this this tourist mission going, then we'll head back over to our telescope, and we'll take some more photos, different planets and moons. So all I really care about for the re-entry is that we can see what the hell's going on. I guess we could be a little bit fancier about it. Let's aim for the Space Center there. We're going to come in steeper than we normally would because this is a test flight. We're going to be testing for tolerances. Now, why am I not see? Oh, okay, because I'm fucking blind, that's why. I was looking for this little X here and I didn't see it at first. I want to overshoot the launch site by just a smidge. Something like that, maybe. Might not be far enough, actually. Something like that, maybe. We don't have a probe core, so we won't be able to have the flight computer do the work. Interesting, this is one of our only vessels that has exposed nozzles on the return portion. So I'm going to use a little bit of monopropellant to get us started into turning retrograde for us to do our burn. But then I'm going to deactivate SAS, and then we'll reactivate it when we're pretty close. I think I might go and put one of our linear RCS nozzles on the bottom side here, just so that these aren't struggling so much. Well, I don't know, we do have 128 monopropellant, so it's probably fine. A boatload of it. We just need to be in the general direction of a retrograde, really. It's having a hell of a time stabilizing on it, though. One set of nozzles right in the center is not a very good way for us to have done that. Yeah, I definitely need another set, probably on the back side here. Maybe even move these up to the front. And probably just go with linear ports, one pointed off in all four directions. On the front and the back. We're kind of stabilizing. Okay, that's close enough, fuck it. Let's go ahead and time warp up to execute our maneuver. And I also need to look at this thing. Does this have separation rockets? It does. So we need to point back to prograde before we release this. Well, have to, but we're gonna. Yeah, it seemed like that was a little bit too much burn. That's okay, though. We'll fix it. Hopefully we'll have some monopropellant left to fix it with, but might not. Let's go ahead and deactivate SAS. Since it's struggling so hard. Because we are actually getting a little bit low on monoprop. We're going to get us into a spin, and we will separate from the maneuvering stage when we're pointed prograde. We'll continue through the spin and stabilize retrograde with our heat shield pointing forward after we're separated from it. Jeb's having a lot of fun. We're just under 95 kilometers of actual altitude now. We're going to hit the upper atmosphere at 85. So we still have plenty of time. Bit of a slow roll. But the additional monopropellant nozzles will take care of that. But I have 30 units of monopropellant left, so I'm going to release that here so that I can just kind of stabilize us on the 90 line to continue our spin. We're down to 93.4 kilometers of actual altitude. So we're going to have our belly facing down, we want our heat shield facing forward. Hopefully before we hit the upper atmosphere, but I think we're going to be fine. Plenty of time. 92.5 kilometers now. Hit the upper atmosphere at 85. And now that we've separated from that, these should do a really good job of getting us on target. Now that they're at the end of the vessel rather than right in the center of the total vessel. So the biggest question that we want to answer here is, are the parachutes that we have, I added another crew compartment, so I did add an additional parachute there. Are these balanced? Are we going to be able to sit down on our belly? And are those going to be enough? Go ahead and enable SAS, have our pilot follow surface retrograde. Just spinning us a little bit so that we're nice and even with the horizon there. And we'll go into time warp. Actually, wait a minute, because we kind of undershot. So I think what I'm going to do with the remaining monopropellant that we have is burst forward. I'm going to move that as close as I can. I'm just going to use up all the rest of it. I'm increasing our speed ever so slightly in an attempt to get us just a little bit closer to the space center, but I don't think I have enough monopropellant to actually get us there. Our parachutes are activated. I've just noticed that we got extremely low on electric charge. Not sure why. Pretty sure that we're still going to fall quite a bit short. We might be able to see it as we're coming down to the ground. But I don't think we're going to reach it. I think we're going to end up probably over here somewhere. Kind of hoping that we don't end up on a mountain. There's a mountain range in here. Alright, that's all she wrote for monoprop. Let's get out of map mode. We just hit the upper atmosphere there. We're going to start time warping. We're passing the desert airfield and launch pad right now, just south of us. It would have been more efficient if I had actually switched the nav ball off of surface and back over to orbit, but I don't think it would have been efficient enough to actually get us there. Ow, I just noticed I have a freaking mosquito bite. Little bastards. Good morning, Scarlett. How are you doing today? What you up to? We're testing out our largest tourist vessel yet. And pretty soon I want to adapt this over to a crew transport vessel. I want to add life support to it. I want a version of this that can do a tour of both moons, and another version that can go out to one or the other moon. Or should we just go... No, let's go for one big one. We won't cycle through the contracts as quickly, but then we'll combine all the moon missions into one flight. Into space we thrust, yes. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Scarlett. Chill the fuck out, lady. Even with a larger heat shield, we did oversize this heat shield. We are still generating some heat on our front adapter. And the rear one. Bummer, dude. I guess I could go even larger with it. Oh shit. I gotta get out of physics warp. This is bad. We're coming in extremely steep though. We kind of did that on purpose. I want to see if it'll survive it. If it can survive coming in at 35, then I know it'll survive coming in at 55. Or 50, which it would eventually be our target. But I left it in physics warp a little bit longer than I should have. And I might have botched it doing that. I didn't make a quick save either. 'Cause I'm a dick. We're just struggling. Oh, we're lawn darting for sure. Well, actually, we're probably gonna explode before we lawn dart. So, always a silver lining. Don't have to worry about lawn darting because we'll die before it happens. Oh dear. On the upside, we're also losing speed quite a bit more quickly than if we just had our heat shield forward. On the downside, we're gonna die. Good morning, Dom. And Pops. This is quite the interesting descent profile. Oh shit. Oh shit. Don't know what we're actually losing here. I think it was half of our parachutes. No, it wasn't parachutes. What the hell blew up? Isn't there a way we can see that? Do you guys remember what the key is to get a vessel report? Other than the explosions, I think we're gonna live. It was probably those solar panels that are on the adapters that are overheating. I see 2 of the 3 on the front adapter. I see none of them on the back adapter. Yeah, I think our solar panels just popped. I only counted 2 explosions. We had 3 solar panels on the back there. Oh no, it wasn't solar panels, it was batteries. All of our batteries fried that were on the back. Holy shit, we lived. Nice. Is it F1? I think that's the screenshot. F2 gets rid of my HUD. F3. Oh, it's F3. Rechargeable batteries exploded. All 3 of them. Okay. Let's go ahead and get rid of that heat shield. Bye, heat shield. And we'll see if this is enough parachutes, and we'll see how well balanced they are. We'll just turn off SAS and everything and let her coast on down. So I think it's time for us to upgrade our reaction wheel on the back end, and I think I want to also add a, you know, one of those things, the thing that does the stuff, a service bay, and we'll go ahead and move a lot of these fiddly bits internal. There's the drogue full deployment. Heat shield should be impacting any second now. Poor heat shield. I would recover that thing. I would totally salvage that thing if I could get the parachutes to stop being destroyed when I stage it. But I haven't had any luck with it, so sorry, heat shield. Okay, I think I just need to double up the number of parachutes on the front here. Because obviously our nose is a little bit lower than we would like. That'll also slow us down a little bit more. I would like to be setting down even softer than 6 meters a second. So first we'll try that. I'm also going to move this set of chutes down onto this adapter, I think. Then we'll put all the batteries and everything. Might actually swap out the batteries and go for a capacitor on the back there. So as far as test flights go, not too bad. Yeah. Back over to the VAB. Replace the parachutes with wings and landing gear, make it into a shuttle. Could do, could do. So a couple of different changes that I want to make here. Let's grab a set of our linear thrusters. And I want them attached here, but I also want them to be pointed at a right angle, so I'm going to actually put them all the way up here and then move them down. I don't make a whole lot of shuttles. I do make gliders, depending on the mission. If we have a mission that requires for us to go to a very specific point, then generally I will make a glider for it. That looks like shit. You gotta go. That looks better. It is a little odd that they're attached the way that they are, though. The only problem is, if I do them any other way, our interstage fairing here has to come up and dead end right under the lights. Ah, fuck it, we're not driving, let's go for it. Let's indulge. Edit our fairing. I'm gonna make the fairing first, I think. And we'll put the nozzles up here first. Hey, back down here. What the heck? That looks much more better. Yeah, as long as it's not a plane, I'm generally okay with it. I did not, Pops. Do you have a link to anything referencing it? I am all about another Titan probe. About fucking time. Not as interested in a Titan probe as I am in an Encinitas or a Europa probe, but I think they're trying to figure out a way to do it without poisoning the water. Which one of these is bigger? Definitely not that one. Is that my biggest freaking stabilizer? Shut the front door. NASA's Dragonfly will fly around Titan looking for origins. Signs of life. That's another type of life that I don't want to know about, but at least we're almost guaranteed that that will be bacteria. Because Titan is a fucking terrifying place. The building blocks of life. I don't know if we're gonna find it there. I mean, you won't find a mammal, right? Doesn't Titan have like a cyanide atmosphere? Am I thinking of the wrong moon? No, I'm thinking the right moon. I had to go and look up the video that I was watching. If this is the one with the actual footage... Oh yeah, it is. There's a link to it. If you want to watch the whole thing, check this shit out. Like, this is actual video of a probe that we send down to the surface of Titan. Oh, I guess I should probably hit enter after I give you guys a link, shouldn't I? There's a link to the actual video that I'm looking at. Hello, Paula. So the problem with Titan is it's basically like oceans of almost gasoline. The coolest thing about it is, like, if there were actually any sort of remotely safe way for us to harvest anything from this planet, everything that we could get from it would, I mean, forever fuel everything that you ever wanted to do. Gonna be a quadcopter, like a four propeller drone. Yeah, and all of the rocks that we see here are probably water. Because it's outrageously cold. I mean, there could be life there. Like, there's no reason to think that there wouldn't be life there. We found life in sulfur springs that are hot enough that they should be sterile, completely sterile, and are poisonous enough that there really shouldn't be life, and yet some little germ was like, this is tasty, I want to live here. So, I mean, it could happen. Mostly nitrogen and methane, a little bit of hydrogen and other gases. You wouldn't want to breathe it, would you? I think if I'm gonna go with those thrusters, well, I guess I'll have to underpower the rear ones, because I can't decide if I want to go with 4 of these guys. Or if I want to go with just linear outward-facing nozzles. But I do want to get rid of this set that was in the middle there. That's gonna go. Not so bad, it's just not oxygen. Life does find a way. Very true. I totally forgot to check my messages and see how much of this was recoverable. Damn it. Do I have a larger fairing now? I do. Because there's no reason for us to go to that lower diameter if we have a larger fairing that we can use. So I'm going to steal all the gear off of this one and replace it. Got that going. Let's get these guys on. I don't remember how many there were, and oh yeah, they were on the cone. That's why they're in an angle. Let's get rid of those ones and put new ones on. If we do find even germs there, I mean, the potential for life absolutely anywhere is kind of incredible. I can't wait to see the videos, though. Okay, so that's a much larger interstage fairing, and I also gave up some fuel down here, and I put these on at the wrong angle. Doh. There we go. shit, that's not enough anyway. I have to oversize them or go with more. Because I definitely want this to be recoverable. Huh. My god. I need like 8 of them. Holy crap, that thing needs a lot of chutes. Trying to think of a better way to do this. Because there's just not a whole lot of room to work with in there. I wonder if I wouldn't be better off going with some sort of a structural piece to attach the parachutes to. I think that'd be right about this, just about the right size. That's almost enough of them. Let's try 6. Yeah, damn, that's a lot of chute. A whole hell of a lot of chute. It'll work, but let's see if it can safely separate and fire its retro rockets and everything. Oh yeah, if we can find anything in our own solar system, just imagine the odds of it not existing everywhere are astronomical. I think I was limited in part count. I don't know why the hell I wouldn't have an extra parachute on these guys. There we go. I couldn't get symmetry to add one to both. It was wanting to put 2 parachutes on this booster instead of 1 here and 1 over here. Got it though. Now another problem that we had with these guys is that they want to hit each other. And we need them to keep their hands to themselves. So I think what I want to do, instead of just having a booster that moves them directly away, I also want to angle it upward. And hopefully they'll clear one another when we separate from them. Okay. Then for our parachutes on the top part, just want to pick these two up. Reattach them in mirrored symmetry to this. I want to move them a little bit closer to the front of the vessel. You have ice cream? Gimme. Kind of an odd surface, but I'm trying to get it relatively flat with the curvature of the adapter. I think that's about as best as I'm going to be able to do. Yeah, I need to upsize that little guy, and I'm gonna add a service bay back here and get rid of these batteries too. And if that doesn't do it, what this thing really needs is some air brakes. Some sort of a front control surface to keep it, keep that heat shield back there. Thanks for the follow, Death. Welcome. Good morning. Good time zone, as Paula says. So hopefully that'll be enough to keep all of this pointed in the right direction. The drogue chute I think is fine. I'm just going to move it a little bit forward too. So we'll do another re-entry test. I think I'll make a quick save this time, and we'll try it a couple of different ways. I wonder if we should start working for stage recovery to be able to pick this up, though. Because there's kind of two different things that we want this to be able to do. I guess let's just upsize all of these equally for now. So we've taken away a little bit of fuel on the bottom, and now we're adding a little bit of weight to the top. And we haven't even done the increased heat shield. We might need to make the booster a little bit bigger too. Doesn't look like 110 is gonna do it, so we'll go 100 and, I guess 16, because it doesn't want to give me a 15. Okay, and I also want to go for max spread angle on all of these, if they're not already. And then outside of that, I think we're good. No ice cream? Aww. We're so close. What am I clipping into? Everything. That's what I'm clipping into. Okay. A little wider down here. Alright, looking a little bit better. So as far as all of our values here, which part is this part? I'm hoping that if I go for, because 6 meters a second is typically what your target is for this. Anything under 6 meters a second in stage recovery should be able to grab it if the tank is empty. If you've used up all of your fuel. It's going to be higher if it isn't. I think for the core of this, hopefully, well, that happened. Let's Control Z. Go to Tron. Good morning, man. How you doing? Thank you for the follow, dude. For the core of this, I do want to go up one more size because I got rid of that adapter. So I do want to replace the liquid fuel and the oxidizer that I got rid of. And it looks like this thing's outrageously tall, so we should be able to move all of these up and balance them out a little bit better with the nozzle on the bottom. Do a little bit of that, and a little bit of that. Hopefully that'll help a little bit with the additional weight that we've added up here. And I have some things that I need to do with this one. So this fairing is going to be completely invalidated, unfortunately. But it should be worth the effort. What is this part? I just fixed you, you son of a bitch. How did I add weight to this? I'm so confused. Titan Probe won't launch until 2034? Aw, feels bad. So I'm looking around for a good place for us to put our service bay too, and honestly with this three-way adapter that we're using, the tri-stack, I don't really have any options. It's gotta go right here, and it's gotta be the smaller diameter service bay. Which sucks, because we do have a bigger one, but the cool thing about this one is it does have a fairly high heat tolerance. Yeah, I don't really see any way around it unless I want to go with a different kind of adapter here. But I don't think that I have a 1.25 meter to a 2.5 meter. I'll be damned if we do. It's a structural adapter, but that's okay. This doesn't need to be crew passable or anything. This is gonna be a bitch, though. Let's go and delete that fairing. I'm gonna upscale the heat shield a little bit more too. So I think I'll just pull from the decoupler. That seems like a lot of heat shield, though. And it's way wider than the rest of the vessel. I dislike that. Dislike, unfollowed. Let's take it up to 3.25. Okay. Apparently there's a bit of a delay there. What the hell is this thing doing? There we go. And I may need to increase the aspect of this too, so that our separation rockets will actually fit in it. We'll see. I'm kind of thinking about ditching the tank for the RCS fuel with it. Thinking this guy down here. This is going to be such a nightmare to install. I think you gotta bite the bullet and do it. Let's go back over to our other payload pairing too. Service bay, sorry, not a payload pairing. Because this has a really high heat tolerance and we can fit a whole bunch of good gear in there. But I don't have any large gyroscopes at the moment. I got little inline reaction wheels, I have radial gyroscopes, and then I have the advanced inline stabilizer. So this is definitely our best option, but that's what we're using right here, and I don't know if I want to go with multiple. I could probably fit like 4 of these bad boys inside of this thing though. How much should they cost? So we're talking $4,000 just in advanced inline stabilizers if I go with multiple. And then we're looking at... yeah, so I don't think I want to ditch those. I'm also looking at how is this going to set down if I add this in here. Because it's a little wide. Oh, I could downsize this so that it fits this a little bit better. Okay, I think I have an idea of what we're going to do. Let's pop these off. This is going to be a fucking pain. This needs to connect to this decoupler here. Or just whatever the hell it wants, apparently. Then I need a copy of just the decoupler itself. Maybe this won't work. Maybe the structural adapter won't do the trick. See, it's a little bit off there. Can't think of any way that I can really fix that. That is odd though. One would think that that it would fit fairly well. Because the plan was going to be, if I could get this one to work, then the service bay would attach to the bottom of that. Shit. I'll have to kind of rebuild. That would go, all of this would go. The universal stack adapter can probably go too, but this would go on the bottom here. And then what I was trying to decide is what do I want to separate from on the bottom here, because this is going to be so wide that we would actually set down on the service bay itself. So I was hoping that I could downsize that, but the adapter doesn't fit quite right, and I do not like it. So I'm not going to use it. You're out of here. Now this is still going to be a nightmare to reassemble. And I'm trying to decide how we want to go about it. I suppose I could do advanced inline stabilizers on the back of all these so that we have 3 of them. And then connect to the 3-to-1 adapter. That might work. And then I do want to integrate the smaller service bay because I want to get rid of the radial batteries. These are going to go, and we're going to upgrade it to a capacitor. I guess maybe this one won't be that bad since it was already sized appropriately. I gotta take a look in here. I don't think that's connected properly. Ooh, do I have 2 of them? I can't tell if I have 2 bottom decouplers all of a sudden. Get rid of that one, see if there's 2 of them connected. Nope, okay, so we're good to go in here. So when physics kicks in, even though those parts are inside of another part, they should be flush enough that this will get a solid connection to the adapter, and so will this one. So that was the whole point of all that bullshitting around with the docking ports inside there. Problem is, where the hell do I put the reaction wheels? Because I want this to be crew passable from the front to the back, since we only have the 1 door. I guess I could just redo what we've done in here. Because I need 3 of those. This is the tricky part, though. The only way that I'm gonna get this perfect is to get rid of this one and do all the work here. Uh-oh. Need to be able to click on the docking port now. Okay, I guess I'll attach it first. I don't know. But for this to work, this little guy needs to be attached to the bottom adapter, not to the top one. So we're going to go back into this part. I want to move this docking port back down. Did I just pull the wrong fucking docking port? No, we should be fine. Oh, wait. Did I build this in properly? Are you attached to the docking port, or is the docking port attached to you? It does make a difference. Frick. This is always such a pain in the ass. Totally worth it in the long run, though. R2D2, thanks for the resub. 3 freaking months. Holy shit. Hurry shit. Okay, I'm just gonna start over. I've screwed that pooch completely. I have docking ports that I don't know where they came from. I didn't take the original apart properly. Let's grab that one. Let's grab a new inline stabilizer. See if I can do this with slightly less fucking up. This is tricky though. Oh right, you gotta go. You gotta go. Okay, now that I have that, should be able to make a copy of this, get rid of that part of it, this part of it, if I can click on it. Should go right there. Just gotta pull this bottom decoupler. Got it. And now when I slide these back in, it should dock up. Hopefully. Let's take a look. Yeah, it looks right. Okay. A hell of a lot of work for something so... I don't know. I guess you can't really say it's something so simple, but something so freaking finicky. So we have made the vessel longer as well, but only by a smidge. Adding the inline stabilizers, I just couldn't think of a better way to add more, you know? And I still probably want to have 4. I want as many as I can possibly do. Since these have a fairly large responsibility, then this part is heating up. I guess I'll just go without the service bay this time, I think. How much does this empty can cost? Oh, it's only $200 with the monoprop in it. $330 if it's the larger version. $300? Yeah, we can get rid of that. Okay, so let's undo all the weird shit that we've done to this poor thing. Our universal stack adapter. The reason that I think I want to get rid of that is just so that I can move these probably right into it. And I think I still want them attached out here though. These just move the heat shield away from us, even if we're at a high speed. Hopefully. And I have them in, instead of three-way symmetry, I have them in two-way mirrored symmetry and then a single one over here. So that it not only moves it directly away from us in front of us, it moves it away from us and off to the side by changing the, by going with different angles for the two that are in pair and the one that's the oddball. See, these two are pointed more toward the vessel, and they'll, the thrust from those two will have more to do with moving the heat shield away, and this one's at slightly greater of an angle so that it also moves it off to the side. Hopefully above us. I think the way that I have it set up, it should move away from us and that way. Hurt furry. Now, I may need an additional universal stack adapter on the bottom of this. Don't know if this decoupler is going to work now. Maybe it'll be fine. I think it'll be fine. It's just our fairing that's going to look kind of funky. Yeah, it's a pretty fucked up looking fairing. I think it'll work though. Kinda goofy. Alright, let's fix our staging. So these 18 freaking parachutes, they just need to go out of the way. The interstage fairing here won't be triggered until we separate, so that needs to go into the same stage as this decoupler and its retro rockets. So this guy goes all the way up there. The main payload fairing should hopefully be deployed before we get rid of our liquid booster, our main lifter. Now I gotta figure out if this is worth doing though. We're at $150,000 launch cost. And we need to figure out how much of this is actually gonna be recoverable. We will be able to do quite a few missions all at the same time, so the payout's gonna be pretty good, but... Oh, and I forgot the damn batteries. That's what I was thinking about putting that, what do you call it? The, payload thingy thing up here for. I guess what I'll do is totally fuck up that fairing that we just built. And I'm gonna throw a capacitor on the back end of this guy. Actually, it looks like the fairing will still be okay. Oh, I put my front nozzles on in the wrong spot. That would have been awkward. These have to go on a 45-degree angle. So we've pretty much redone all the things. Let's look over our Kerbal Engineer information. we're going to get 1,619 DV out of the first solid rocket boosters. It'll actually be lower than that because we're going to throttle back to maintain a 1.5 on ascent, and as we lose weight from these, we'll transition from firing our humongous liquid engine to just pretty much deadlifting the main rocket there. These guys need to go up to here. And then we'll throttle up to full when we get rid of the 4 heavy lifter solid rocket boosters. The last solid rocket booster just gives us higher fuel efficiency. This last set of 2 has very low thrust, so that they burn for quite a while. I say we just take it up and test it. Let's just give it a shot. Save the rest of our staging. Let's also look over the rest of our staging before I do that. The cryogenic engine that we're using here doesn't have a delay. It doesn't deploy, so that needs to go into its own stage. For the main stage, we're going to fire all 4 of our heavy lifter solid rocket boosters, as well as our 2 fuel efficiency augmentation boosters and our main liquid booster. Then we separate. We now have 4 separation rockets per booster rather than, or sorry, we have 2 per booster rather than 4 per booster, and I've given them a bit of an angle. Hopefully these won't collide with one another anymore. Then we separate from the last 2 boosters, and those also have 2 separation rockets per. Then we have the deployment of the main payload fairing here. Then we have the interstage fairing, the decoupler, and the retro rockets all in the same stage. Hopefully that'll all work out and we won't like blow up any of our chutes or anything. Hello, Anodin. Then we have the activation of our upper engine after we've fully separated. And when we separate from the heat shield, when we separate from the upper stage here, we activate all of our parachutes that are still connected, as well as quite a number of solid rocket boosters, so that this is completely deorbited. And I don't have parachutes in there for that, I don't think. Oh, I guess I do have 4. Let's check stage recovery then. The heat shield, the empty monopropellant tank, and this adapter, as well as the 3 retro rockets, will all be completely discarded. We're not going to try to salvage that. Looks like this guy is pretty damn close to being salvageable, but not quite there yet. A bit cramped in here already. This is going to affect our efficiency. I'm going to increase that to 6 parachutes, internal parachutes inside of that structural tube. Hopefully we can get our money back for that. And then hopefully all we end up actually paying for is a shitload of liquid fuel in the main booster, a little bit of solid fuel in each one of our solid rocket boosters, and fairly inexpensive liquid hydrogen for the upper stage, but hopefully we'll be able to recover all of our shells for all of these. Maybe. Just maybe. Let's go over to the crew tab and make sure that we don't have any stowaways. These are all the tourists that we're going to bring up on this mission once we get this thing done. Let's update our save again. The new and improved 14-passenger plus 1 pilot vehicle. Carthax, good morning. Oh God, my back. Oh, stretching. It's so nice. Oh yeah, shit. I guess I'll worry about that later. I thought that I had increased those parachutes to a size that would make the portion that has the crew recoverable with stage recovery, but it doesn't look like it did. But I think we're going to have another iteration of this that we're going to deploy. I may actually have to add an additional solid rocket booster so that we can get up to our target DV. Lights on. SAS on. Throttle all the way up. Nothing can stop us. Maneuver node. Or maneuver mode, not node. And we'll go ahead and get all of that information up to 3, 2, 1, go. KSP? Me too, man. Sometimes I hate Kerbal Space Program, but most of the time I love it. So I cut down to almost a third throttle right away there. Down to about 10% throttle now, 15 maybe. And now we cut completely at about 5.5 kilometers off of the ground. The solid rocket boosters are going to do all the work for now. I am going to start into our gravity turn a little bit earlier because we have a long enough burn time on our heavy lifters that we're really delaying too long if I don't. So we'll fight into a little bit more of a roll here. But I do want to be perfectly stable there before I stage them. Fingers crossed that they don't collide this time. So they should move out and upward a little bit. And I was hoping that that would just separate them a little bit more. And it looks like it worked that time, but they are kind of problematic. Let's go ahead and throttle all the way up. That leaves us back at a thrust-to-weight ratio of 1.5. AP is approaching 40k, so I'm going to continue to nose down into our gravity turn. I like to be at about a 45-degree angle by the time my AP is at about 45 kilometers. It's not the most efficient way to do it, it's just something easy for me to remember, honestly. AP's at about 50. Keep rolling here. Down to about a 25-degree angle, I think. And then we'll stabilize there between 25 and 30, I guess, until we separate the next solid rocket boosters. Thrust-to-weight ratio is approaching 1.9. Should be at just about 2 by the time we get rid of those boosters. There we go. Leaving us at 1.4, so just a little bit lower than before because I didn't burn the engine quite as long. So I might do that a little bit different, but we're a minute away from AP and we're already above 1.5. I think it's okay. We're actually at 1.6 now. Alright, payload fairing go. Go ahead and expose the actual tourist vessel. AP is at 76, so I'm going to continue to nose down. Target's 90, so I want to be horizontal by the time it hits 85, and then we should be pretty close. Thrust-to-weight ratio is about 1 3/4. We're at about 70 kilometers, so we're just staying full throttle. Shouldn't matter. Just want to burn through the rest of our fuel. AP is at 82. I'm down to 5 degrees inclination. So far, everything is going smashing. I really hope that it continues to go well. And then we'll do a re-entry test with a much more oversized heat shield than what we were using before. And we'll see how that goes. Let's lay down horizontal. We just passed 85k on our AP. We're only 40 seconds away from AP. And we do have a suboptimal thrust-to-weight ratio for the next stage. So we'll see how it goes. 5 seconds of burn left before we stage the main lifter here. We are almost in space. Go ahead and separate from all that good stuff. Activate our engine, maybe? There. Oh, I don't know why I had an extra stage there. What kind of mods are you looking for? If you want to look at the actual list, we have a channel in the Discord, KSP Modding. We've got some custom configuration files, a couple of mod manager patches that we wrote. And then we have a CCAN favorite list that will let you import everything that we install with CCAN, and then we have a short list of things that you'll want to install manually. I would test out the CCAN version first, though, honestly, because it wasn't compatible at the time. We were running into issues with some of them, so we had to go back to a previous version of it, but it may be fixed by now. I need to assume a greater angle. I've accidentally passed AP. So I'm gonna go to a higher angle and try to push AP back out in front of me here. And then we'll go back down to a 25-degree angle. I don't know, actually it might be fucked. I may have needed to maintain altitude a little bit earlier because we are actually back in the upper atmosphere now. My girlfriend plays all kinds of Skyrim, and she really likes modding that one. I couldn't get into it, I'm not sure why. Well, okay, I know why. It's because I played like thousands of hours of Morrowind, and yeah, I just overdid it. Totally overdid it. I'm gonna try to push our altitude back up. We previously did have a lot of excess Delta V, but I think we're gonna fall short here. I think I'm gonna swap out the Volcano cryogenic rocket engine for a different liquid hydrogen upper stage engine, just to get that thrust to weight ratio and vacuum a little bit better. So we did push AP back out in front of us. We are ascending again. Our target was 90. We've got it at just about 90. It's a minute out in front of us, which is just about our burn time. So we'll see where we end up. But I do think that I want to edit that a little bit, and I will go with the additional solid rocket boosters, or go with liquid side boosters, and then just one set of heavy lifters to get us off of the pad. And we'll do our first asparagus staging style vessel. Not really asparagus though, I mean it's just side stacks that feed into the center stack. We're gonna fall just a hair short here. Although I might be able to salvage it if I cut the engine now. We're 4 minutes away from AP. Oh, am I wrong? No, I'm not. It's right here. How much would it take to circularize? $71.2, and I have 173. Holy shit, yeah, we can do that. Okay. We'll go ahead and hold prograde. That should be prograde by the time we get there, even though it's telling me that it's down here. That's just telling me, I think, where prograde's going to be by the time we get there. That is an awful lot of mods. You're going to want to go into your CCAN, go to settings, CCAN settings, no, wrong hole. Go into settings, go to compatible KSP versions, and tick everything from 1.7 to 1.4 for it to be able to load in absolutely everything. 'Tis an awful lot of mods. That's why I was more curious, like, is there something, like, specific that you're looking for? This morning I added a couple of automation mods that I kind of wanted. We've got, Devon Supply, I think that's how you say it, or Devon, I don't know, Supply, which will let us automate resupply missions to our stations. So we'll just design the vessel, and then we'll pay for the vessels to be launched up to resupply our stations. And then I also put in Bon Voyage, which is an automated rover control, so that we can actually go back to using rovers again, because otherwise they were just a fucking nightmare. It takes like 2 hours to move from the edge of a biome to the edge of another biome, and then it just takes forever to get to the next biome, which really kind of hurts. Started a little too soon there, didn't I? So I am over our target, unfortunately. We're going to circularize within 3 kilometers. That leaves us with 100 meters a second of DV, which is actually kind of perfect. That way we're not taking any real extra fuel up into space. That's more than enough for us to deorbit this vessel. All in all, it really went well. Let's go ahead and get set up for testing re-entry. And we're just passing into the dark here. So I'm going to turn off SAS, and I'm hoping that the vessel maintains this orientation and that we're naturally at retrograde when we come around to the other side. Or at least pretty fucking close to it. Actually, let's use a maneuver node again. Since the launch site is out in the daylight. So I still want to re-enter at a fairly steep angle to test for tolerance. I think I also want to make a quick save so that we can do potentially 2 or 3 tests here. Let's get our PE info up. I want to come back in at, normally for safety we were coming at like 50k. I'm going to come back in at 30. We're going to come in quite steep. And then I'm going to move this around so that we overshoot the launch site. Still didn't put a probe core in, so I can't use the flight computer, but that's okay. Get a little bit closer to our maneuver node. Now we'll pop it out of time warp about a minute before we get there so that we can get oriented properly. Let's let the pilot get us to retrograde real quick. We're going to use quite a bit less monopropellant now that we have nozzles at the front of and end of the vessel. And then we'll manually adjust to the target. Which honestly should be retrograde. That should be where retrograde is in about 2 minutes. I'm gonna get to about 10 seconds, yeah, so we could have just held retrograde. About 10 seconds before we actually need to start the burn, and I'm gonna get rid of the maneuver node. And we're just gonna eyeball it. Right about there. Do want to overshoot. Let's go ahead and get into a spin here. And then we'll disable SAS so that we don't waste monopropellant. We want to separate from the maneuvering stage while we're pointed prograde, and then we want to continue to spin back around, and then we'll hold retrograde. Bye-bye. Why, thank you for the good vibes, Carthax. Alright, and we are going in from a fairly high altitude and into a fairly steep re-entry. Let's get turned around here. We only have one set of nozzles now, but I am going to leave RCS enabled. And I've left them on this end of the vessel on purpose, because I'm hoping that when we're in the upper atmosphere, and when we first start to hit air resistance, that they'll do a little bit better job helping Jeb stay on target. Alright, let's see how she goes. Oh, we should also, before we re-enter, just double check. Yeah, okay, we're still overshooting. Because all the little maneuvers that we did there do kind of affect our re-entry. Ooh, my staging is messed up. So when I separate from that last stage, I do actually want to activate all of my parachutes, just in case of the just in case we lose power or something happens. I want to make sure that even if we liquefy all of our passengers, our parachutes will deploy. So we'll put those into their own stage real quick and activate them now. But I am going to have to make a mental note to fix that. Okay, now this time, before I forget, let's check our damn messages. Did we recover any of our stages? We recovered all of them except for whatever the hell this was. What were you? It had 6 radial mount parachutes. That was our upper stage, our cryogenic upper stage. You bastard. So I'm going to also have to make a mental note to check on that. It's only a $15,000 stage, though. 14,223. That really isn't that bad, and we can cut that down by getting rid of the parachutes, and we could definitely go with fewer separation rockets too. Because I'm not really seeing anything that's... I think the majority of the money that we have invested in that stage is actually the engine itself. But I would like to make it recoverable if we can. It would be nice, wouldn't it? Let's go into physics warp. I'm going to try not to overdo it this time. I did make that quick save, so if I do fudge it up, it shouldn't be any problem. We're testing for tolerance first, and then we'll go and I want to redo the entry one more time at 50 kilometers, which is what we would typically re-enter if we had passengers on board and if this wasn't just a simulation or a test flight. I guess another thing for us to make a mental note of is if I were to need to use monopropellant to slow down a little bit more for any reason, I would have to remember that the vessel needs to be pointed forward, because I don't, once we separate from the orbital maneuvering stage, I don't have any nozzles that are pointed this direction anymore. So if I was going to use monopropellant to slow down, I would have to flip the entire vessel around. Which kind of means that we would have to do it before we hit the upper atmosphere for safety. So we've got the much larger heat shield. Unfortunately, that does increase our surface area on this end versus this end, and will encourage this to want to lawn dart and flip around and go nose first into the ground. Which is the reason that we put in the additional 3 inline stabilizers. I'm hoping that those can keep us on track. It would be much better for me to have like grid fins or even an ablative air brake of some kind on the front here. But I don't think that I have ablative air brakes. I think that we can unlock regular air brakes, but they won't be as good on re-entry as one that's more of a heat shield type air brake. And I can't recall if we have grid fins. I do think that we have grid fins, but those are more for upper atmosphere than re-entry too. But those would help. That would give us some additional drag on the front of the vessel. We could probably do a 3-way here, where one of them is right in here, and the other 2, you know, 3-way symmetry with the one part centered on the top. Or we could also add them over onto these, but we wouldn't be able to use symmetry if we put them on the crew cabins, because I do have them all oriented so that everyone that's sitting in the vessel is all pointed upright. You know, sitting upright when we, well, hopefully touch down. So it'd be a little bit more difficult to put them there. I do find it very encouraging that we haven't started to overheat on our adapters yet because of the larger heat shield. I definitely like that. I would really prefer that we had a larger fairing plate, because it does look kind of funkified, but wow, I way overshot, didn't I? We're going to end up landing closer to the island airfield. Now, there was an update to trajectories, so it might be a little bit more accurate now. I might be able to pinpoint with that red X now. That does look like our descent profile, and I'm not seeing it actually move at all. I know this thing works perfectly in stock and in GPP every time that we've tried it, so I don't know what they updated, but I thought that I checked. The couple that I added that I did check before I updated them, I think all they did was a little recompile for 1.7. So we are starting to overheat on the pretty much everything now. And there we go. We're going to start to get pushed aside again because of our wider surface area on the bottom. And that's what we would want to correct with air brakes or grid fins if we could. But we've already lost the vast majority of our speed. I'm not actually even nervous about it. And we're venting our monopropellant, which is also good. I have way too much monopropellant. I think I'm going to get rid of that tank entirely and go with radially attached tanks. A couple of little ones. Yeah, we only use 20 monopropellant. I just don't have enough nozzles to actually use it all. So there goes our drogue chute. Let's go ahead and test the separation rockets and the decoupler for the heat shield. Yeah, they did a pretty good job. They got it out of the way and off to the side. That's all we wanted from them. I am going to leave SAS and RCS on. The vehicle is not going to be able to point retrograde, but I do want to lose that little bit of weight that we have from, as much of it as I can anyway, out of the monopropellant tanks. Let's go into physics warp so that they continue to burst. Let me see. I think they will. Oh, nice. We're already out. Okay. Oh, right. Because I staged the monopropellant can with the heat shield since it was only like $300. Didn't really see any reason to have that extra weight. So this is also a good landing for us. We're going to land in the ocean this time, and that's another thing that we do typically want to test. Make sure that that the vessel will remain stable. If we touch down in water, it's a little bit of a different ballgame. Everything looks fairly balanced. I like it that we're setting down on the backside of this a little bit. And there's full deployment. It's pretty damn level. Without SAS or RCS or anything like that. Look at that. We're just barely like half a degree off of the off of horizontal. So totally a good guess. Could have gone either way. We kind of lucked out. Now, that went well enough, even though we did get pushed aside and we did start to overheat. We didn't do it until we were down to about 2 kilometers a second of speed. I would be much more worried if we were to start doing that at like 3.5. Then we really run a risk. But we were re-entering at about a 30-kilometer PE. And typically, we wouldn't re-enter at that great of an angle at all. Down to 5.1 meters a second on touchdown, and I don't see any parts that are like trying to shimmy themselves apart. So I think that our internal docking clamps are working just fine. The only one that actually has a solid connection is the top one. So these two, when we hit the water, do definitely want to check and make sure that they're not like popping out or anything. But they look good. A diggy. And then I don't know, I guess another thing that we could do is enable auto strut to grandparent part. It wouldn't connect to that. It would connect to... No, I would have to do it for the docking port, I think. So that it would try to auto strut itself to this when when physics kicks in. But honestly, it did well enough. I don't think we need to fuck with it. I think we can totally pass this for actual use. I do want to set down on the ground but I'm confident enough in its ability to be able to, because we have so much weight here compared to up here. What I would be afraid of is that it would tip, kind of like it is now, and try to rest on the adapter and the nose. If we had more weight on the front, I think it'll be fine. I think the lighting was good too. And then eventually we might add some pieces to this when we do get some air brakes, just for a little bit of additional safety. Depending on how they look anyway. Now, we don't have a whole lot of overhead, but I think if we stay at a greater angle, we'll be just fine. I do want to do one more test flight. I am a little bit nervous about us only having that extra 100 meters a second. It is very efficient, but that's so fucking close, you know? This was recovered just fine. This was not. And why? Topal Penguin. Thank you for the follow. Stage recovery says that it'll be fine. What's the old problem? I wonder if I need a heat shield on that, and if I need to move those parachutes outside of the structural tube. I'm wondering if the decoupler that's on top of the structural tube is preventing the parachutes from actually being able to deploy. All in all, though, it's just another 15 grand. So, alternatively, we could just pull all the chutes. Let me make sure that my save is up to date. That's $5,000 just in chutes. Then I guess these are only a couple $100. Let's go ahead and take 2 of these guys instead of all of the previous ones. Oh, well, is that going to be enough? Is 2 of them actually going to be enough? What's the cost difference between the large Hewlett motors? They're only $250. The little ones that we're using right now are $50 a piece, so I don't think that matters at all. I think I'm just gonna plan on not recovering that from now on. So we'll go with 4 of these. I still do want it to lower its PE enough to be recoverable. We're gonna re-enter from 50k. I want this thing to terminate at 0. I want it to just smash into the ground, honestly. And the service bay is actually just a structural standoff so that we have enough room to flare out from the, with the fairing to get around that big old heat shield. Let me just double check. Yeah, I don't see any grid fins or air brakes unlocked right now. Let's go ahead and update the save again. I want to look in here. Specialized control. That will give us the larger reaction wheels. It also gives us the heavy RCS thrusters and the heavy RCS thruster blocks. But I don't see a damn air brake. Bummer. So, I wonder if it's in one of these other ones. Because I know we have some kind of air brake. I just don't think we have ablative air brakes. My goodness. Field science. Look at all these experiments. Oh, this is the little core drill that we were talking about yesterday. It takes a surface sample. It can hold up to 3 surface samples at a time. It's a really neat little instrument. The been there, done that scanner. It's kind of neat. The big old cam, additional wheels. Okay, so... Oh, these are chassis. Front and rear sections. They looked just like air brake, just like grid fins. They're not what I'm looking for. Plus, if I were going to grab that, I would want to get advanced landing too. I want to unlock all the prereqs before I unlock anything further up. So it's not in any of those. It's not in there. It's not there. Supersonic flight? Maybe? Question mark? Voice higher at end of sentence? No. Heavy aerodynamics. There we go, baby. Air brakes. We already have the prereq. We only had 483 science. We are about to make some more science, though. It's not going to be a whole hell of a lot. Not until we get another telescope up. I do see a lot of parts that I would like to use in here, though. I think I'm going to go for it. We'll grab that. That leaves us at 183, so we could grab, like, supersonic flights if there's any in here, too, because I think the ones that I just unlocked might be a little too big. So if there's a smaller version that I can unlock, I don't want to use tweak scale for them. I'm going to play some KSP 2, Carthax. Are you going to stream it? If you're going to stream it, you better give us a link. I think actually I want to go for this, for the SAS halves. We'll go for specialized control. Did I already follow him? There we go, now I got you followed. Faux shizzle. You'll think about it? Alright, well, everybody go and follow Carthax. Then if he does stream it, we'll know. Have a good time though, man. Good luck, fly safe, have fun. Trying to think of anything else that we need to do in here, and nothing's coming to mind, so... Let's see how these air brakes are gonna look, and we'll go from there. Oh, I did add a couple of mods, so while that loads up real quick. File. Export. I'm gonna give you an updated CCAN favorites. And we'll throw that up in KSP modding. There's just a couple other things that, like, the Davon, or Davin, I don't know, that supply mod. Bon Voyage. So this one lets you automate resupply type missions. Let's say you need to bring food or fertilizer or something up to one of your stations. You design the vessel, make sure that it works, and then you can schedule the resupply trips and you don't have to do them yourself. Then I also have Bon Voyage, which gives you an extra part that you can put on your rovers, like pretty much anything that's landed and has wheels. And then you can tell it where you want it to go, and it'll move while you're not actively on the vessel. Oh, really? Yeah. So the problem with freaking Amazon is actually I use a G502 now. My 500 died on me. I was having some problems with it. But the problem with Amazon is sometimes they merge lists and sometimes they'll run out of supply. So there's always that one asshole that has one that's willing to sell it for $300, you know? No matter what it is. Just in the off chance that they do run out and that somebody's desperate enough or just doesn't give a fuck and knows that that's what they want and is willing to pay that. It'll probably never sell, but they must just be out of stock, and they might not even be making the 500. Oh, no problem, Carthex. Appreciate the lurk. Even if you don't, appreciate you hanging out this morning. Oh, nice, yeah. I play on a TV right now, too. I have a Sony 43-inch. There's a cool website called Rteams. I think that was the name of it. .com. Let me see. Yeah, they do all kinds of stuff with audio, with monitors, TVs, and actually I don't recall them having headphones. And one of the things that they test for is whether a television would make a good monitor. I do want to do one more test flight with this, just because we did reconfigure it. We mostly took away things, so it should be fine, I'm pretty sure. But I want to be positive before I actually send up tourists. Actually, I'm trying to think of anything that we added, and there's nothing, so fuck that. Let's go back into the VAB, we'll load it up with tourists. I think we're going to be fine. We took away the chutes. We went with fewer ullage motors that will move the upper stage away from the transport. I don't think we added anything, did we? We just took away? Pretty sure. Yeah, because I was thinking about adding those air brakes. But I'm also thinking that they're probably going to be a little too large. I assume they would be in control. I guess they'll be in aerodynamics. So there's 1, there's 2, there's 3. Maybe these ones might work. And I think those are... yeah, those are the stock air brakes. They're $1,000 a piece. They weigh basically nothing, though. Oh, I do have grid fins. When the hell did I get grid fins? Even the medium isn't as big as an air brake. You're gonna stream it? Sweet, man. I will try to stop by when I get done if you're still on. These are $2,000. Holy shnikes. That's not that big of a deal, as long as they're on the part of the vessel that's going to remain recoverable. I think I'd rather go with the air brakes first, though. Depending on how they look. And depending on if they're tweakable, because I think they're going to be too big. So if we add those there, I suppose I can reposition these all the way up to here. Oh no, I can't. They're still going to interfere with that one. Maybe I can move these a little bit lower. I don't want the joint that's going to flex on those to be clipped into anything, though. You can't have them there. They're going to clip into the bottom two air brakes, so they're gonna have to go on the adapter. Hello? Work? Shit, I don't like that either. The hard part about putting them down here is that the adapter is a 3-to-1. So if they're not clipping into it over here, they're not actually attached to it out here. Damn. I think we can figure out a way around that. Actually, I think we can just go with linear ports, because they're a little bit lower profile. There's another mod that I was considering grabbing that I didn't grab, that adds like subsurface ones. They're like perfectly flat, so the end of the nozzle is all that's poking out there. Oh, the fairing's gonna have to be redone too. Usually I'll stream for about, I don't know, 3-4 more hours from now. I do think I'm gonna go with the heavy RCS thrusters. And same struggle here though. We need to find a place where we can install them in 4-way symmetry that won't interfere with anything else. That would work right here, or all the way up at the front would actually work. It's not covering the door. They do look a little goofy. I'm looking at some of these other RCS blocks that I've never used before. You're gonna do 5 to 6 hours? Nice. See, these don't use monopropellant, so those will be a problem. Gampaku, thank you for the raid, man. How are you doing? Hello, friends of Gampaku. Hope I didn't butcher your name too badly. Playing some Kerbal Space Program as well. Are you doing JNSQ? Mr. Carthax said that he was just about to get started on a little bit of KSP himself. All the KSPers, all the time. I don't know, maybe this little flush one would look a little bit better. And I'm putting it subsurface because I'm going to disable all the thrusters except for the ones that point outward. I think. KSPers, I like it. That's one thing that I've always missed about this game when we did take a break from it. Just an awesome community. Could go with 2 of these. What I'm looking for is just a good replacement for our previous 3-way nozzles that we had down here, because they're going to conflict with our new air brakes. And I'm not finding anything I'm in love with. So I think what I would want to do is attach these down here and then move them into position. Oh, you little shit. Come back. I think I could live with them if I shifted them down. Oh, no, I hadn't noticed that that was looking like shit there. That's not gonna work either. I don't like it. don't like it. So what we're working on right now is a 15-man vessel. Quite a big feller. $150,000 to launch, and we're going to use it for tourist missions. We have a liquid hydrogen upper maneuvering stage. This is the crew portion of it. We could probably just get rid of the whole damn thing and try a different one. Because we do have a lot more options now as far as parts go, but I'm kind of invested in this. We've been working on it for a little bit now. And I do think that I want to make it work. My only problem with these guys is, like, I want this to be flush with the surface, but I don't want to be able to see the surface of this part through the nozzle of the thruster. So that's why I continue to look through these. I'm trying to find something I can live with here. Oh, sweet. Appreciate you, Carthax. Good luck, man. I hope it goes well. Oh, you're trying to get to affiliate? How many follows are you from affiliate? And then I'm also kind of considering just relocating them to the back. I would definitely prefer for them to be on the front, though. But we could make the back work, and actually making the back work might be just overall a lot easier. Because those are only 75 bucks a piece, so if we do have to decouple them with the heat shield, yeah, fuck it, we'll leave them on the back. The biggest benefit of having them on the front is when we're still attached to the maneuvering stage, we're a lot more nimble. You're at 30 follows, you're 20 away from your 50? Oh man. Let's see if we can help you out. Get you that affiliate. Get you some emotes and shit. Yeah, we could always fix it up later to really change it up. I think that'll do, though. We've still got the others on the end here, so at least it'll have some assistance in pivoting around. But really, it just needs to do the roll. I think it'll be fine. So what am I going to do about this fairing, though? Because I can't move these any further back. I think if I can scale these... Oh, shit, we can. Whoa, okay. Wrong way. I think I'm just going to scale these down. Shit, you know what? If I'm scaling those down, then we can put our old nozzles back on, can't we? Because we were just interfering with this one because of how wide it is. What if we took these down to, say, 75% of their current size, and also move them forward so that we can clear where I want the nozzles to be? Didn't get to move them forward all that far if I leave them at 75%, but I think I need them at 75% because I do need them to be able to reach out past this adapter. Yeah, let's try it. Okay, so I'm gonna get rid of these guys again. Bye, guys. Thank you for your service. I'm gonna grab these guys. See if we can add them back in. And if not, fuck it, we'll go with the 5-way. I don't want to spend all day on a nozzle. Might just be enough room. If I downsize them just a little bit further to make it work, I'll do it. No, I think that's gonna be fine. I don't think that these are gonna clip into these when they deploy because of the way that the hinge is here. I think it'll be aight. Move them out just a little bit further so that they're not clipping into the bottom part of the hinge either. As long as they still